You see, the word sanity is a very essential commodity that when you come to a society and you don't find sanity, then something is wrong. Now, the story, of course, most of us have heard this story before. The story of the leader of the African Union going to hold a meeting with Russian President Putin to beg him for food. I don't know whether some of you, most of you have heard this story. It's funny. But anyways, before I go into the story, this is Biafra Global Network, and this is Real Gists. And every word we bring here, every statement we make here, every word, every communication here is actually real stories, and to teach us wisdom, to make sure that we begin to reason rightly and do the right thing. The president of Rwanda, who is also leading the African Union, went to Russia to go and beg Putin to allow them send food. Now, there are some things that are so strange. Now, let's look at these African leaders. I don't call them leaders, I call them rulers. You cannot produce, you cannot fund development, you cannot fund technology, you cannot fund advancement. Ordinary farming that has been there for decades, ordinary farming that began with human, creation. You cannot even plant enough to feed yourself. So even if you don't invest in any other thing, you mean you cannot invest in farming for your people to make sure that you are self-sufficient, to make sure that you provide for your people, you provide the food that you need. So can you imagine going to beg Putin so that they will allow food to come to Africa? What a shame. How long would we be this daft? And yet our people will be talking about election. The next 4 years, they want to elect the same people. They said this one will come and change the story. The next 4 years, for years, they have been doing this thing. Decades, they have been doing this thing in Africa. And yet, you are not receiving anything. Yet, you still continue in your stupidity. Don't think about a drastic change. Going to beg Russia to give us food. Please allow food to come, allow grains to come so that we can have food to feed our population. You have farms, you have lands. You cannot farm. You cannot create opportunities for your people. Even if you depend on only farming alone, you can develop your country. But you see how wicked they are? They will not do it. It's a shame. That is why in Biafra, we want to do something different. That is why we want the nation Biafra, because Biafra portends freedom for all African nations. Their eyes will open when they begin to see what we'll do differently. We won't go around begging food. We will develop. That is how Israel was able to develop. Today, most of the richest people in the world are farmers. We will build massive technological system on our farms to make sure that we produce massively, and we will invest strongly in farming. Not just farming, in every sphere of development and gifting. Because we have the potentials. We can create anything we want to create as Biafrans. We have what it takes. That is why we want Biafra. We will not be going around to beg for food. You go there, you want to get they build planes, you go and buy. They build cars, you go and buy. They build TV, you go and buy. They build phones, you go and buy. Now food, again, that you can easily do. Even an ordinary person can just farm back of his house. Food you cannot provide for yourself. It's not a shame on you, African leaders or rulers. They are rulers, they're not leaders. It's a shame. These are the things we're talking about. That is why we want Biafra. And every Biafra must support this. Remember, there is no election in Biafra land in 2023. We are going to set the pace, and that will be our referendum. Because by the time we all stay back from the election, they will know we have decided that is a referendum. We have decided to be away. We have decided to be on our own. And then we will begin it from there. We'll secure our land, we'll do everything. So join us in this campaign. No election in Biafra land, and it must stand. You must be part of it. This is Biafra Global Network, and this is Real Gist. Please click on the subscribe button and share to your friends and neighbors so that they can hear the stories, they can hear the good news. Click and send on all your social media platforms. Thank you. Join me in the next broadcast.